I'm truly humbled by this opportunity. This is such a elite university and football program with great tradition and history. It's a special place, and so to represent this university as the head football coach, to represent our team in that way, I'm humbled by that, and I promise you'll get the best I absolutely have. This place is built on hard work, toughness, blue-collar mentality, and that is what this team has. That's what we're going to display. We're going to play with a relentless effort and play for one another and really have pride in that AU that's on our chest. And that's it. I want our guys to go compete. I want them to play with confidence and not a care in the world. That's it. Don't worry. We're going to prepare them right. We're going to have a great week of practice, prepare, and go out there and let it loose. And I want us to be the aggressor in all situations, no hesitation. And I think our guys will embrace that. I know they will. And so we're going to do that as a team.
All right, there he is, the new head coach, the interim coach of the Auburn Tigers, DJ Durkin, Monday at his press conference as the Tigers head toward Vanderbilt. Welcome in, everybody. It's time to talk some Auburn football. And joining us on the line just south of the Music City, former Tiger national champion Brian Brinsfield. Brian, always great to have you with us. You heard DJ Durkin on Monday, and pretty impressive comments, I would think, for a guy who has been a head coach at Maryland, but not in a while. He's been a defensive coordinator around the block a little bit, but I thought all in all, again, very impressive comments on Monday, and I'm excited to see where he takes the Auburn Tigers in the last few weeks here.
Yeah, I like the energy. He was very energetic, and that's what you see on the field from his defense. You see a lot of energy and flying around, and so if he can take that energy that we saw in the press conference and those words and manifest that into 567 yards of offense and 67 points, then we should be good. But no, I do. I liked I liked what he said, and I think he said all the right things. I like the relentlessness that he talked about, and just going out there and playing with unabandoned and not worrying about making mistakes, and that's kind of what we've. Listen, what do we have to lose right now? We got 3 more ball games, and but he's right. Let's take them one at a time, and let's beat Vanderbilt this week.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about the Commodores and Pavia a little bit later. But interesting in the coaching search right now. You also had John Cohen at the mic Monday at the press conference. And he was, he kind of avoided the topic as you would expect that he would. But and when he was asked about what he was looking for and how he would go about the search, the thing that was interesting to me, Brian, is he said, yes, DJ Durkin will be considered for the job. And DJ didn't really answer the question when he was asked. He said, no, we're focused on Vanderbilt. But Cohen, I thought would say more about DJ and the job he's done at Auburn, and he's really got to step up because I know him, and his defense is one of the best in the country. But what he actually said was he would just be in a pool of people that we would consider, which I thought was a little, I don't want to say inconsiderate, but inconsiderate.
Yeah, it kind of was. And you, right then, I think what we've got to do right now is shore up Auburn football for 2025. And the way to do that is not give any kind of doubt or on what's going to happen in 2026, but let's worry about 2025 and finish up and strong. And the way to do that is give every bit of confidence to the guy that you just handed over the keys to the car and the reins to the sleigh. Give every bit of confidence to him, and that just wasn't said and wasn't done.
But the thing about the last few games here, everybody's saying, well, this is a test for DJ Durkin, and if he can win out the rest of the games, there'll be no question he's the head coach. But how in the world can you hold DJ Durkin responsible for the offense when he's got a little bit to do with it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, he can't adjust the talent. He can't adjust the staff, really, that I see. I didn't hear that at the press conference. So how can you hold him responsible for what the offense does in the last 3 games of the year.
You can't, and anybody who says that he is responsible, whether it's online or in a press conference, or they're absolutely asinine and don't know what they're talking about. I'll just say that you don't need to listen to him anymore.
Yeah.
But because you're right, I mean, he took over on Sunday. He's got an awful lot to do on Sunday, Monday, and I'm not just talking about.
At least he'll
He's
be
got
there on
to.
Sunday, right?
What's that?
I said at least he'll be there on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. At least he'll be there, not coughing. But he's. I mean, think of all he's got to do. Not just get a game plan, but he's also got to now call recruits and calm their temper and get them, to think, okay, I'm still going to commit to Auburn and all that, and maybe still make plans to come to the Iron Bowl and not change commitments there. But get his staff together, get the players together, and really focus on Vanderbilt. But he only has a couple days to do that, so you can't. We talked about this during the off week because Freeze said, "Well, it's Auburn. It's the second 2.0 of the season or something like that, and we're going to really evaluate and change." You can't evaluate in the middle of the season, so you can't change things in 4 days. You got to go with what you got. I really do like what he said though about that you've got one position but 2 or 3 people can play that position quite differently.
Yeah. And we'll get to that comment in a little bit when he talks about the offense.
Yeah.
But, the thing that really impressed me about DJ, and you know this, everybody can sense this when you see him up there and you listen to him, is energy.
Yeah.
That's the one word that I got from the press conference was energy.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine playing defense for this guy?
Oh yeah, and that's like most defensive coaches. It's they kind of have to be that way, and most defensive coaches are a little off their rocker. Maybe it's they've hit too much or whatever, but that's how most defensive coaches are, and but they have to be fired up. You've got to be a little more subdued on offense, but I like it. I like the fact that he got up there and looked people in the eyes and stood up instead of sat down and he talked. He wasn't the most eloquent person, but I'm not either. And you're sitting here listening to me, but he talked fast and he talked smart, and he didn't put me to sleep. It wasn't like it wasn't like reading a 500-page book like some of the press conferences we've heard.
There's not a lot of football coaches out there that are really eloquent, I would say. Hugh Freeze wasn't eloquent to listen to either. That's not a negative, but I mean, just basically most football coaches at a press conference aren't going to wow you over with their
wax
English.
Poetic.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But anyway, what did you get a feeling when you were listening to the press conference or since then? Does this guy work? Can he put an offensive staff together and make this Auburn thing better? Does he have a chance at the job? Because he didn't answer the question really.
He has as good of a chance at the job as anybody, but it's not going to be predicated on the next 3 games.
Yeah,
it's just not. And if John Cohen evaluates him on the next three ball games, I'll say this, and John Cohen, he didn't make me a national champion, but he put a number up on Jordan Deere Stadium. John Cohen needs to leave Auburn if he's gonna evaluate him and based on the next 3 ball games. It's just not. It can't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna run the plays that we've installed already. With the guys we've got, and we've seen what we have. We've seen the talent we have. Our 2 tackles aren't just going to magically get better because Hugh Freeze left. Our quarterback's just not going to magically get better because Hugh Freeze left. Now, I will say this. Well, we can talk about the offense later, but so anyway, that's what I'll say. It's not just going to magically get better. Now, there is some. We've seen this year because we've had about 750 firings this year in college football. we've seen the magic that sometimes happens the week after or the 2 weeks after.
Yeah, certainly.
Right?
Yes.
So you may see that, and you may see a gritty blue collar team that has a chip on their shoulder and wants to come out there and prove something in Nashville this week. I
Blocks
hope we do.
downhill and runs the football, maybe.
I hope we do. I hope we don't throw it but 10 times. But if we throw it 10 times, I hope it's downfield to Cam for 60 yards.
Or Eric or somebody.
Or Eric or whoever.
But, and here's the other thing that really stuck out to me at the press conference that I really wasn't aware of. I knew they had coached together before. But if DJ were to get the head coaching job, who would he put on the offensive side of the football? He seemed really, really close to Derek Nix at the press conference. They worked together at Ole Miss a little bit, I think, and maybe some other places. But would he retain Derek Nix on his offensive staff? Would that be his OC, or would he have a role in the offense if DJ was the head coach?
Yeah, he did skirt some questions, and I'll answer the question by starting by saying this. He was asked, who on defense impressed him. The person who impressed him the most on defense this year is Xavier, but he didn't say it because he didn't want to isolate anybody on the very first week and have the press come after him right. But so let's say I'm saying to say this.
You could pick a number of guys over there.
Oh yeah, but Xavier Atkins is our best defensive player right now.
Or Keldrick maybe.
Keldrick, Falk. But anyway, my point is he didn't pull a John Cohen.
Yeah.
He didn't say, well, Derek Nix will be in the mix.
Yeah.
Derek Nix will be in the pile of guys that if I get the job that I'll look at as an offensive coordinator. He didn't say that. He said Derek Nix is going to call every play that I've got going forward for the next 3 ball games. And that's what he should have done. That's what he should have done. He should have instilled confidence in his team, to his coaching staff, and to Derek Nix that he has every confidence. Whether he believes it or not, you got to instill that confidence in him. Should he be the offensive coordinator next year? Probably not.
Talking with Brian Brinsfield, 1993 national champion, former Auburn Tiger, of course. And Brian, great to have you with us. A little bit more of the coaching search. A name that I hear driving around Auburn, listening to the talk shows, going different places. Tulane coach John Sumrall.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about DJ Durkin. The thing that pops out to me there is that you got DJ Durkin sitting right in front of you. He's already here. And John Sumrall is at Tulane. They're having a good year. They've won some close ball games. The game last week was not very pretty, where they were a favorite in the game against San Antonio and got mashed. And Sumrall is a defensive guy, defensive coordinator is where he comes from. And San Antonio put 48 on him. And that, just watching that game, kind of gave me some second thoughts about Sumrall. And would I take the risk of going out and hiring a young guy like that? DJ's pretty young too, 47. Yeah. But would I jump over DJ to take the risk to hire John Sumrall?
Yeah. Well, we talked about this in our last meeting that we had is if you keep DJ, one of the things is you keep his consistency. You've already got these guys that committed to Auburn, and they committed to Auburn for various reasons, like he said today. But probably some of the defensive guys committed because of DJ Durkin. And the scheme he runs and how he plays defense, or how he coaches defense, how he calls the defense. So the consistency of keeping kids at Auburn that are already there, or keeping the 26, 27, 28 classes that are coming in to keep them still to come in. It might be a little better with DJ. We've talked about this a little bit off air, but Sumrall, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Coach Dye, except listening to him and kind of watching him on TV. It's kind of like watching and listening to sandpaper. It's just rough.
Yeah.
He's broken how many headsets, and he doesn't, and that's kind of a badge of honor for him. He
A little
likes it.
RMF wave there in the locker
Yeah,
room.
yeah. And I'm not sure, but a big thing with Auburn fans, and it's with me. I'm big on the Auburn creed, and we have a culture. We are not the other side of the state, and we have a culture and something to kind of live up to and hold. And I think DJ kind of fits maybe the culture a little bit better than Summerall.
Yeah. And before
That's-
everybody sends us a message and says, "Oh, come on, that goes on in the locker room all the time." We all know that, but you
Sure.
don't say that on camera when you're doing
No, not on camera.
the post game show.
No, not on camera unless it's a hot mic.
Yeah. I mean,
unfortunately,
there are certain situations where that might be appropriate, but you would think they would cut that out.
yeah. No,
Anyway.
it happens. It happens all the time, and every coach says it, and whether they admit it or not. But you just don't say it and hear it on a broadcast on a sports show or in a locker room when you know cameras are on and things like that. So,
And here's another thing that I think about. When we're talking about Summerall, we're talking about DJ Durkin. Is there a possibility for Auburn to put those two guys together? Summerall is a defensive guy. DJ Durkin is here as defensive coordinator. If Summerall were to come in and cut a deal to become head coach at Auburn, could that deal include you got to keep DJ Durkin at DC?
I don't think it would.
You think he'd like to bring his own people?
Yeah, I think he'd bring his own people.
Yeah.
I think DJ Durkin would be a decent hire as a head coach somewhere.
Yes.
So I think he would be we wouldn't end up retaining him. I don't think, unless he was our head coach.
Would be a great situation for Auburn, though, I would think.
It'd be a great situation.
Yeah.
It'd be a great situation.
It's hard to do because he's going to be a head coach at some point very soon, I think. If we don't get him, somebody else will.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that offensive situation. We touched on it a little while back, but how much can DJ Durkin affect this offense with energy, with his relationship with Derek Nix, doing things a little bit better than the other guy, that kind of thing that he touched on in the press conference? Let's listen into his comments, and then we'll come back and talk about it in just a sec.
I think it's important, like in football, you realize this, it's not always what you do, it's how you do it and who does it. And I think that's a major thing. Like how you do things, how you do anything in life really matters. And you can see a difference in two people doing the same exact thing, but there's a difference in how they're doing it. And so that's our first focus. And it with an edge and with relentless effort and a certain sense of physicality, it has to be done. My communication with the offense has been more schematically from a defensive viewpoint of, that's my background, what I know. I'm certainly not going to try and step in to be doing things that aren't in my wheelhouse. But from those terms of, okay, here's some things defensively, viewing that where we could help and offering suggestions that way. Derek Nix will be the play caller. He'll be the play caller every down. He's the sole play caller. And I have extreme confidence in Derek. Derek and I have worked together at previous stops as well. Again, another great person, great coach. I think the players really responded to him and they understand where he's coming from. And I think Derek's going to do a great job. And we will be aggressive in everything we do.
All right, so DJ Durkin talking about the offense at Auburn. How can he affect that coming into the Vanderbilt game, then an off week? Then you got Mercer, then you got Alabama at home. Interesting comments, Brian. And as we talked about before, you can't hold him responsible, really. But if he does affect this offense, if he does simplify things, maybe he takes away some of the RPO stuff. Maybe he makes it simpler. Maybe he makes the quarterback's job easier. Maybe Derek Nix calling the plays by himself makes a difference. That could enhance DJ's chances down the road. Yeah.
My thoughts during the press conference were number one, I liked what he said. Like I said just a few minutes ago about, okay, everybody's got a job and but not everybody does it the same. And somebody's going to do it a little better than another person. We're going to go out there and find who's going to do it the best, who's going to do it with the best energy, who's going to do it relentlessly, fearlessly, and that's who we're going to put on the field. And he, if you notice, he included he said three quarterbacks. He didn't say
Yeah.
two quarterbacks. He said three quarterbacks.
Right. Including Deuce.
So that to me includes Deuce in the mix. And so, if I'm Deuce this week, I'm thinking maybe I got a shot.
Would you throw him out there at Vanderbilt against a team that's, I think, number 15 in the country now?
Again, what do you have to lose? There are going to be people out there who hold DJ Durkin responsible for a loss at Vanderbilt, for whatever happens at Mercer, and for a loss at Alabama, or a win. If those, regardless of the outcomes of these games, I still don't think it's DJ Durkin. I think it's circumstances.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of you have to lose is Deuce's confidence for future games. But it's going to be. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think you have that conversation with him before he goes out there and say, listen, don't let this affect your confidence.
Yeah.
We know that this is a great defense. We know that, and maybe you don't put him out for Vanderbilt. Maybe you put him in for Mercer, and just say, hey, go have fun, go play high school football, and go play a ball game.
Do what Arch did last week.
Yeah, just go play ball. Maybe you don't put him into Vanderbilt, but maybe you do it at Mercer and just let him run around and see what kind of poise and athletic ability he has. We know what kind of arm he has and athletic ability he has, but what can he instill in the offense and to his teammates?
Yeah.
You never know. You don't know. You don't.
Yeah, after watching that Kentucky game, I mean, a lot of people have come up to me and said, how could Deuce Knight not be better than what we had against Kentucky?
3 points against Kentucky. So this was one of my other thoughts. Was if I'm DJ Durkin, what do I say to the offensive staff? Do I say, okay, guys, we are middle of the road nationally, middle of the road in the SEC and running the football. We've got decent running backs. We've got really good wide receivers. Our problem is we can't get the ball to them, whether it's the quarterback getting the ball to them or whether our quarterback doesn't have time to get the ball to them.
Yeah.
One of those two things or both of those two things are happening. It's not the receiver's fault, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
not anybody's fault. I mean, it's everybody's fault, not just one person.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have a decent running game. So does DJ Durkin, he says he's going to let Derek Nix call the plays. I firmly believe that he will. But how much influence does he have to say, okay, let's run the ball 75% of the time because we have a really decent running game. So until they stop us, let's run the football. Does he do that or not? What do you think?
I don't think he's going to say 75% of the time.
Or whatever percent.
Yeah. I might think he would say maybe we should be a little more balanced because most of the time, not last game really, because the offensive line had a rough night, but most of the time we've gone to Cobb. He's had a pretty decent average per carry. So
4 or 5 yards. Let's
be a little more balanced. Let's maybe run on first down, not all the time, but, mix it up, run on first down. Maybe, see how far we get, and then you go from there, I guess. But I think he would call for a little more balance than we've had with Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I'm being a little probably critical. Realistic. I don't think we can throw the ball. I don't think we can protect our quarterback long enough to throw the ball, and I don't think our quarterback is accurate. Our quarterbacks are accurate enough to get the ball to our wide receivers.
Yeah, Kentucky obviously threw some wrenches in there because we have protected, decent at times during the season, but against Kentucky, it was really bad. And
Well, Vanderbilt's better than Kentucky. Their defense is really good.
defensively, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they played Alabama really close
Yeah.
at Alabama.
Yeah. All right. It's going to be an interesting matchup in Nashville. Auburn and the Commodores coming up at 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. An interesting matchup between head coaches. I also thought, will Damari Austin think about coming back to Auburn at running back? We talked about the running game. Things like that enter your mind? Huh?
I thought you were going to say Robbie Ashford, but that would be his seventh school.
He's doing too well at Wake Forest now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, I did want to respond to a couple guys that did leave us some comments on our last cast real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but
real quick, or we can do a next segment if you want.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that.
Okay. We'll come back and talk more about Vandy and Auburn, the coaching search, and what have you on the Horizon Financial Halftime Report right after this short break. Stay with us. Talking a little Auburn and Vandy tonight with Brian Brinsfield, former Auburn Tiger. Brian, glad you're in the house. And we've been hearing from the new interim head coach of the Tigers, DJ Durkin, former defensive coordinator, as we head into this ball game. Of course, that press conference on Monday of this week. And still kind of up in the air as far as who will be the permanent head coach of the Tigers. But we talked about that a little bit, and we can hit on that some more. But before the break, you were mentioning some comments that we got on a couple of our social media platforms. If people want to comment, we'll tell them that you can go to wareagletv.com, which is our website, and our X page is @TV_War Eagle, and the YouTube page is Holton Media Group. You can just search for that, and you can find all of our videos about Auburn and wareagletv.com right there.
Yeah, most of these are about the coaching search, maybe the next coach at Auburn, and I'm gonna get these names. I'm probably gonna spell them. Or the first one's not too bad. It's Jepar1, and you'll like this one. His comment was just Neil Brown, good offensive coordinator. And I know you like Neil Brown. It's somebody that we've talked about a good bit on this show. Do you bring him in as an OC? Do you bring him in maybe as a head coach? But I know you like him out at Texas A&M.
He was at Troy.
I mean, yeah, at Troy. But where is he now?
And then he was at West Virginia, and he's at Texas now. That's right.
Texas, not Texas A&M.
Yeah, he's with Sark at Texas.
That's right.
Working with Arch Manning a little.
That's
bit.
right.
But yes, I would think you'd bring him in as an offensive coordinator if DJ were to get the job. That pops in my head immediately. A very dangerous young duo of coaches at Auburn. I think that would be really effective. But I don't think after his experience at West Virginia, I don't think there's a lot of people in the SEC that would hire him as a head coach right now.
Probably not as a head coach, but I do like it as an OC.
Very good. Yeah, very sharp offensive mind.
Right, and I like and he's not studying, but he's getting the tutelage of Sarkisian, which is good stuff. And I
like what Sarkisian got from Saban, right?
That's right. I mean, it's kind of, I think he's kind of doing the same thing. He's bringing some guys in and giving them a Lazarus chance, so to speak. The same guy, Jopar1, said, what about Rhett Lashley? I kind of commented on the page, but I think SMU, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think SMU shored him up last week before the Saturday with a good contract. Now,
I think that's right. I think he signed a 2-year extension. I don't know if he signed it yet, but he has on the table a 2-year extension with SMU.
Yeah, and I like that choice. I like Rhett Lashley. I like what he did at Auburn. I liked the offense back then in the early teens, minus 2012, right? But I
always thought when he was at Auburn. And he held a press conference as the offensive coordinator. I always thought that's a head coach right there. One day he's going to be a head coach.
and he's done a really good job at SMU. And he took SMU into Clemson and beat them this week.
Yeah.
And he took them to the college football playoffs last year at SMU, and SMU hadn't been relevant in years.
Yeah.
So, if it wasn't for his extension, and I don't know what the buyout is, Rhett Lashley, to me, because again, he's been at Auburn, he knows Auburn. I think he liked his time at Auburn, would be a good choice. Two more that they mentioned.
Let me interject this before you go on. Speaking of buyouts, here's one thing I researched in the last couple of days. John Sumrall at Tulane. What do you think his buyout is?
15.
$15.8 million.
Yeah.
Does that hinder Auburn from making that higher?
No, I researched it too, and we've paid off Gus. We're done with that. All right. So we
could open a restaurant somewhere, right?
That's right. We've knocked that bill off. We are one payment. We've got one more little payment in our payment book for Harsin.
Is that all? Only one more?
Yeah. So the way that those two payments were structured, or those two buyouts were structured, half of the money got paid within 30 days.
Yeah.
And then the other half was paid in 4 equal installments over 4 years. So Harsin's last payment is this coming year.
And Freeze's payoff is a little different.
It's way different.
Yeah.
So it's like
4,000 a month.
400,000 a month.
400,000.
400,000.
Sorry,
I
missed a zero there.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
For 4 point something a year for the remainder of his contract, and I don't until it's done. So and that, from what we understand, his contract his buyout kind of got knocked down a little bit. From what we understand.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it was 15 something, and maybe it got knocked down. That's being reported.
And Cohen mentioned that. Somebody asked him about it Monday, and he said, "I can't comment on that because we're still in negotiation with their people, and it could be a while before we figure out exactly what the final buyout is."
Okay, all right. Well, but so let's say we've got Harsin's one payment left of a couple million, and then we've got Freeze's. So we're on the hook for right now. If we bought out Sumrall for around 30, 32, somewhere in there. But Jimmy Rain could shake his. He's got some big jeans. He could shake those jeans and probably find $32 million.
He may be listening to us and thinking, well, why didn't Brinsfield bring his checkbook out? He keeps mentioning my name.
Listen, I've got big jeans too, Jimmy, but not as big of jeans as you do.
Yeah.
And I know you've lost a good amount of weight.
Not as much Yellowwood either.
Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those commercials were great, by the way. Riding in on a horse with Coach Dye and Coach Stallings. Those were great commercials.
I always remember the one with the fence across the field with Pat Dye.
That's right.
Reckon they'll let me keep this.
Oh, that's good stuff. We got a couple more real quick. Who said Adam Rice said add John Gruden to the list. I don't know about his buyout. He got $100 million contract, I think, with the Raiders, and he had a little faux pas and had to leave the NFL for a minute, and still has left. That minute's still ticking.
How hard is that to come back if you're John Gruden? Do you really want to come back?
Why would you?
How hard is it to come back and coach again, especially in college, when guys in college are trying to get out and go to the NFL because they don't have to recruit there?
Right. And I just don't think he would relate to the college kids.
No.
I just don't see it.
They don't know who he is.
No. Now, he might be and this is what I was thinking about. Well, let's get into it, I guess. The last one was, so that was Gruden. But I don't know if he forfeits any Raider money, if that happens. And then Jimbo, somebody said Jimbo on there. So I think Brian Rochers said Jimbo. Maybe not. Somebody did. But let's talk about, somebody like Jimbo or John Gruden or a Franklin or somebody like that,
Yeah.
and then getting a DJ and a Neil Brown. Do you want somebody that can come in as a CEO type, and run the program, or do you want somebody that's really interactive in one side of the ball or the other?
A detail guy. Hold that thought, and we'll come back and talk about that in just a minute right here after this short break. All right, welcome back, everyone. The Horizon Financial Halftime Report. Brian Brinsfield, former Auburn Tiger, national champion, is with us tonight on the show. And Brian, we were talking before the break about two interesting names, John Gruden and Jimbo Fisher, who were brought up on our YouTube channel, which is Holton Media Group. If you want to go there, check out our WarEagleTV.com videos. And I mentioned Jimbo Fisher during the week. Mentioned him to a couple of people. I started thinking about it. I thought, check. He checked a lot of boxes to me. Offensive mind.
Yeah.
Some people say, I think you said the other night, he's kind of run his course and maybe outdated. He could keep DJ Durkin at defensive coordinator. He hired him at Texas A&M. And we might be able to get a value contract out of Jimbo because he wants to get back in coaching.
Yeah.
Didn't get a very good reaction from the Auburn people. Not a lot of people commented, but some people were just like, no, what you said, I think. We don't want Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
What I told somebody is, here's what I'd tell Jimbo. Here's what, if I offered him, I'd offer him $5 million a year for 5 years. I'd say if you make the 12 playoff, we'll give you 5 more each year.
Okay.
If you win the national championship, we'll give you $10 million.
Okay. And if you keep 75% of your roster, we'll give you something else.
Every year you win 10 games, double-digit games, we'll extend your contract by a year. And there is no buyout. You want to come to Auburn? That's the deal.
Yeah.
If you don't, we'll go somewhere else.
Right. Well, but that's how we've talked about this once. That's how every contract in the country should be done.
Yeah. And I think people are starting to realize that a little bit. Don't you?
I don't know. The guy at
or when we're old and gray,
just got $93 million.
But I mean, since that, and since LSU and Florida and whatever,
yeah,
I mean, when we're old and gray, will the buyouts be like $750 million or something?
Of course. Well, we're already old and gray, but of course they will. Of course they will. The thing about Jimbo is, now that I start thinking about it, and I said absolutely not. I think his time has come, unless he's a CEO coach. Unless he's a CEO coach, and
not calling the plays.
No.
He couldn't stand that, could he?
But I don't. That was my next. I was closing my eyes and just get ready to say it. I don't think he can step out of his way. It's like Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze couldn't get out of his own way with the RPOs and his offense. I said it for 3 years. If he would look around him and look at the talent he had and use the talent that he had, and not just try to mold the talent to his offense, I think he would have had a very different outcome. And I think it came down. I know I'm changing the subject really quick, but we can jump back on it. I think Hugh Freeze's downfall was at one position, quarterback. In 3 years, we didn't have it. We didn't have a solid quarterback, and we didn't develop a quarterback with Peyton.
I told somebody the other day. They were talking about the quarterbacks. I may have said this on the show before, but Peyton Thorne and Jackson this year and Ashton. Who else have we had? Anybody else? We had Walker White.
And we threw in one game at Oklahoma last year.
Robbie Ashford.
But yeah, we threw in one the kid from Nashville last year in the Oklahoma game, and he threw a couple interceptions and
yeah. But maybe of all those guys, as hard as I was on Peyton the last 2 years, he may be the best and most talented quarterback we've had under the Hugh Freeze era.
Maybe. Maybe, but we didn't get to see Walker really. I don't.
No, we didn't. We may get to see him later at Baylor.
We may have to play him like next year in the
Yeah.
first ball game.
Yeah.
But I think that was the downfall. We didn't bring in a good solid quarterback, and we didn't develop a quarterback, and that was Coach Freeze's. But back to what we were talking about.
Gruden and Jimbo.
Yeah, or Miles or Franklin or whoever else they want us. It would just have to be.
They don't seem to be in the mix, really.
I hope. Well, I hope not. But we'll say it. Just But I don't. I just don't. Unless they're CEO coaches, but I don't see Jimbo giving up the offense. And
I don't think he could do that.
I don't see Gruden coming.
Yeah, and I wonder how much. I know Jimbo wants to get back in. He'll get back in somewhere probably because he's only 60. He could coach somewhere else.
Florida,
Well, I'm thinking more like LSU.
LSU.
Yeah, because
He's been at LSU. He was an
kinda-
offensive coordinator at LSU with Saban.
Yeah, and they like to get down and dirty a little bit at LSU,
That's right.
right? They had Orgeron,
Yeah, yeah.
so they may be
They
tired
had
of
the grass chewer.
they may be tired of Notre Dame and ready to get back into the championship picture.
That's right. That's right. No, that's a very interesting fit. Jimbo at LSU.
Yeah, or
can see
Summerall's
that.
at Tulane, so the LSU's watching that.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll talk more about the coaching situation as things develop, but we've got more important business to take care of this weekend as we go north to what they call Auburn North
Auburn North. That's right.
in Nashville to take on the Commodores, who are ranked number 15 in the country. And Pavia is their quarterback. They're talking. You mentioned it earlier. I think you were joking a little bit, but they're mentioning him now for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
And we didn't beat him at New Mexico State.
Nope.
And we hadn't beaten him at Vanderbilt.
We did not.
So DJ Durkin has a chance to make some history this weekend.
He does. Yeah.
How do you do that?
He gets the flu. Maybe. I don't know. This kid is a special kid, and you look at him and you go, why is he special? And somebody like Arch, what has Pavia got? And I just think he's that much of a competitor. I think that's what it comes down to. And I think DJ even said that in his press conference. He's just a competitor. He just has that whatever. And that, man, that's hard to defend because you don't know what it is. He sees the field, I think, better than it's almost like watching Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel just saw the field and he made a split-second decision. And if it wasn't there, he pulled it down and he found green grass.
Yeah.
And Pavia does the same
gap
thing.
somewhere. Yeah.
And
Funny that you mentioned Johnny Manziel. I was just thinking when you said that during the game last week, Vanderbilt's game with Texas, at some point they were talking about vision and Pavia being short. Johnny Manziel was kind of the same thing. But somehow it's just that moxie or something.
It is.
They just find somebody down the field or make a play with their feet.
Yeah.
And they're not, I won't say that about Johnny Manziel, but at least Pavia is not afraid to run over you when he gets down toward the first down marker. I
think Johnny would put his body in harm's way too, but I think and I could be way wrong. Please comment to us and let me know if I'm wrong. But
yeah,
I think Johnny Manziel is kind of mentoring Pavia at Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're right.
I really do think so.
He's been on the sidelines, I think.
I think he has been on the sidelines, and but what he really does well is he extends the play. He's got this instinct to extend the play, and whether it's finding somebody in the zone downfield or a check down to the side, whether it's a back out of the backfield on a flat route or an angle route in the middle of the field, he just extends the play and then either runs it or throws it in a way that that not a lot of quarterbacks can, and we haven't seen a lot of quarterbacks do, and it's tough to defend because you've got to defend for sometimes 12, 13, 14, 15 seconds. And a football play shouldn't last that long.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how he extends plays and and how far he has taken, and his offensive coordinator have taken Clark Lee and the Vanderbilt Commodores. I won't downgrade Clark Lee and the job he's done, but certainly that's been a major impact on their program in the past couple of years.
Well, I used to say this about people that used to ask me if Terry Bowden was that great of a coach. And I said, well, I can't say.
What did you say again?
That's what. I can't say no, but here's what I would say about Terry Bowden: is Terry put great or good to great coaches around him, and that's what made Terry great in the seasons that we had. He had Wayne Hall and Kurt Crane and Jimbo Fisher,
Tommy Bowden.
Yeah. Rodney Allison, and Joe Witt, and some of these other coaches, and he built his lieutenants were great coaches.
Yeah.
And that made him great. So that's what Lee's done, I think.
I've heard Terry on the radio lately in Auburn. I think he has got a house there or moved back there or something. Not sure what, but he seems to be involved in the media there now.
Well, I think he's in the running for the next head coach at Auburn coming up in 2026.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Brian? Can you have that same comment again?
Yeah. That's how that goes.
Situation. All right, so it's Vanderbilt and Auburn this weekend. Should be an interesting game if DJ can pull this off. We're into the off week, so they can kind of reset a little bit and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how he plays, Pavia, if he puts maybe Atkins to spy. Atkins is one of our best defensive players, our fastest defensive players. He's in on just about every play, it seems like. And does he say, okay, I'll match your best with my best?
Yeah.
And put, our defensive quarterback against your offensive quarterback and just say, where you go, 17 goes.
Yeah. And in that case, can the defensive backs cover those receivers
long enough?
Yeah.
Long enough
for him to take off and an X to get him.
That's right. And really it's going to be too a test of our defensive line. We got to contain them, not to let them outside and let them extend those plays and find those little nooks and crannies. They've got a really good offensive line. So what kind of pressure that may be something that we really try to find gaps in their blocking schemes and dial up some pressures that we haven't brought, some exotic blitzes and things, maybe blitz a safety. I don't know, blitz a corner or something.
Yeah. And, you mentioned the Vandy defense a little while ago and how good they are. One interesting thing about the game last week is Texas scored on the first offensive play on the long, sideways pass, and he ran for a touchdown. And they got ahead in the ball game. And Vanderbilt struggles in that scenario a little bit.
They do.
They are not a comeback team. It's hard. I mean, they can score quickly, but it's a little harder for them to score quickly.
Yeah. And Coach Lee said this. He said, we played horribly. He said it was disgusting. I think it was maybe the word he used to describe how they played in the first half of the ball game. They just played really, really bad. Now they did come back. They scored 20-something, 30-something unanswered points, but they played really, really bad the first half. But that just shows again to their credit, and maybe the difference in the coaching of what we just had and went through for the last 6 years. And again, I'm not just talking about the last 3, but the last 6, 8, 9 years, and what Coach Lee has up there, and what he instills in their kids, because they were down big time at Texas, and came back and had a really, really good chance to beat them at the end.
And it's a really backward situation when you hear Auburn people wherever, on the street, on the radio, TV, wherever, when they're talking about the coaching search and they say Clark Lee, and then everybody goes, no, I don't think he's coming to Auburn. He's at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That's a really upside down situation.
Yeah. When 5 years ago, any coach at Vanderbilt would have gone, I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll pack up. In fact, I'll pack next year. I'll just be there tomorrow, and I'll buy some clothes at the Walmart.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I was saying, I think when we hired Brian Harsin, James Franklin, who had coached at Vanderbilt and gone to Penn State, I thought, well, everybody said, well, he won't leave Penn State. I was thinking, well, double his salary. See what he does then,
Yeah.
So, but
Well, we've already
that
had
didn't
one.
happen.
We already had one Vanderbilt head coach come to Auburn. Derek Mason was at Auburn for a minute, wasn't he?
About 6. Well, how many games was it?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
We had 17 coordinators that year.
Yeah, or was it a year and a half that he was there? I can't remember with Harsin.
I don't know. I will say this. I have to say hey to Craig White. I was talking to him. He's a Mississippi State Bulldog fan. We're talking about coming from behind, and he said, "Well, that was our strategy. We've tried to get ahead of our opponents for years. So we just thought out of the box, and we decided we're going to let them get ahead and just try to come from behind." That was our strategy, and it worked last week. They came back from behind, which was their strategy against Arkansas, and beat them. So
got them right where they want them, right?
that's exactly right.
All right, Brian, it's been fun. Auburn and Vandy this weekend up by your place. I know it's going to be an exciting game. Hopefully, a good ball game for the Tigers and interim coach DJ Durkin. Always appreciate your time, my friend. Best wishes up there, and it was fun to read the comments tonight.
It was fun to read the comments, and like I said, we'd love more, and we'd love to read them out loud and see what you had to say and how wrong I am. I would like to say my dad had a stroke last week, and he's in the hospital here in Nashville, and I know he'll be watching the game next week and be listening to the podcast. So if you say a prayer, please say a prayer for my dad.
We'll do it. We've been thinking about you this week, and we'll continue to do so. All your family up there in Tennessee. Enjoy the ball game this weekend up there against the Commodores, and we'll talk again very soon. War Eagle.
Thanks, Doug. War Eagle.